So, you're in vereniging, né? At what point in vereniging do you go, yeah, I want to be an illustrator?
I will be honest, it didn't happen any time when I was living in Vereniging. So anyone that knows about Vereniging knows it's not like a cultural hub for creativity and really people doing unconventional. It was basically a mining town. So it's pretty much known for that side of any kind of industry. So yeah, I left Vereniging at 13. I went to Potchefstroom High School for girls, and then also was in a cultural hub.
I was about to say.
So yes, so kind of growing up, I always knew that I had a creative side. People would always tell me that I'm so creative, I'm so good at art. My parents would always say, you know what, our daughter
Drawing?
is so, pretty much anything that I could put my hands to and give me anything that had color of some sort. In kind of school, I always won the art award. It was kind of known that that's always Karabo's thing, but it was never the main thing.
Did you ever have a mentor or somebody that you looked up to back then? Either in Vereniging or Potch, probably not Vereniging.
It wasn't in Vereniging, no. It wasn't up until I was 18. So in my matric year, we received an amazing artist, Jodie O'Lean, as our art teacher, because our art teacher at the time needed to go on break for some reason. So we had her for a few months. And basically, I'll never forget the words that she told me. She's incredibly talented, and to have someone on that caliber say to a young 18-year-old me that she hasn't seen as much creative talent in an 18-year-old ever before. So she was like, I wish I was half as creative as you when I was 18. And to look up to someone that amazing and have them say those kind of words was really just took me aback.
That's incredible.
So yeah, she kind of like helped me tune my artistic side, my conceptual thinking side. We had her as an art teacher for 6 months, and basically on weekends I would carry on visiting her, carry on learning. And yeah, she was actually the one that introduced me to visual communication, looking at illustration and graphic design, which is actually what I do today.
Does a lot of what you grew up with, your visual stimuli, does that come through in your work right now?
It's 100%. My mom always says, when your hair and your shoes are okay, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, you're gonna look good. So we spend tons,
That's dope.
right? So we spend tons of hours, because we're a family of 4 kids, and all of us got our hair done at the same day, and my mom's not gonna come fetch each person at their different times. So we spend hours in like the hair salon, and my 3 older brothers in the barbershop side. So yeah, just whatever I had seen around me was those beautiful side profiles.
My favorite.
Right?
My absolute favorite. Growing up in Tata, same thing.
I was born in 1992, so we're media age. So I grew up with like TV. My brothers are a lot older, so I watched Friends with them. I watched Martin with them, The Simpsons. We played Mortal Kombat. So I had a lot of media and visuals around me, but it was always a narrative that was, I don't want to say foreign, but it wasn't a narrative that I saw every day when I was in the house or when I left the house. So that was the first time I saw parts of media that represented a narrative that I knew. I saw people that looked like me or people that looked like my family being represented on these beautiful photos. And just some weeks we'd go maybe like 6 weeks without doing our hair, and when we come back, the sign of the hair salon or the barbershop has changed. And just watching that beautiful signage being made, watching it being put up, seeing like that whole context was always something that I always thought was really beautiful.
That's amazing, man. And
yeah, just when I look back, that was my very first expression of art that I had seen.
So what are the icons? Because I know the comb is always there.
The comb is always there. That hand-styled traditional type, that's something that you'll always see. A lot of my figures always side profile. If you look at their hair, there's been something intricate and something iconic. You'd see maybe the Rihanna, pushback, Dabret, they'd have like those iconic, you know it, those iconic hairstyles. So I think to this day I still reference that aesthetic because it was something that I always looked up to since I was little.
At what point do you because you know how it is with artists, man. Like you go through a million different styles, a million different ways to do things because you're influenced by so many things. And where do you kind of find your voice and go, this is my thing, this is what I'm gonna craft, this is what they're gonna get to know me for?
Yeah. I think for me, I didn't go through the journey of trying out 1,000 different styles before getting to one that I felt comfortable in. So yeah, since I was little, kind of learning to write my name, drawing people, drawing my surroundings, I always had a style that was really different. People always used to say that they haven't seen this before, but it feels like home. And I saw how people were responding to it. And yeah, I was just kind of encouraged to carry on. So I think it was a style I just always had.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But like you talk about your parents a lot, and were they ever, did they feel, you know how it is, especially, you tell black parents that this is what you're gonna do, and they give you that look of, can we just think about this for a second? Was there ever a moment where you felt that, or did you study anything? Was this it, or?
This is what I studied.
Really?
Yeah.
Same.
Which is a really big deal because
it is
that
a big
isn't
deal.
The story for a lot of people
No.
of color in our country to say that the first thing I studied and finishing my studies in something creative, that's rare.
You studied graphic design?
So I studied visual communication.
Okay.
So I had graphic design as a major and I had illustration as my other major. Don, I have black parents, so from vereniging. And also studying at the open window, like it's a private institution. Like tuition was like 80,000 Rand.
Yep.
Go tell a black parent that they need to take out 80,000 Rand. No, I feel like you will get hit just for even bringing that as an idea.
You got to give it to them. My parents as well, for kind of secretly watching you do your thing on the side, and going, this is the one place where you really focus and get into it. And they see that you really want to invest your time in this, and they can feel your passion. And for them to go, okay, look.
What was strange was I had like two passions. I feel like I'm equally analytical and creative at the same time. So I was that kid in high school. I had science and maths, and then I had visual art and dramatic art. Subjective, but let me say I was able to do both equally as strong. So my parents just kind of thought, why don't you go into like plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, cosmetic surgery, because then you could use both sides of your skills, right? And I actually agreed with them because like growing up in vereniging, I wasn't exposed to other kinds of occupations. I didn't know what I could do with these two strengths that I had. So I thought, okay, that seems like an honoring job. It's pretty secure, so that's what I'll go for. And yeah, when I was 18, it changed completely. So they weren't the most excited.
And then fast forward to when, because that's how I got to know about you, when Instagram featured you.
Yeah, they did.
Their stories, right?
Yep.
You were part of the stories feature. More and more just started popping up. Like you got the Google Doodle thing. What was that like, to get that massive recognition?
It was incredible. I still feel like it's not real to this day because I never thought young black child from vereniging would be talking to Google, being invited to their offices, never mind taking over Google's homepage with my illustrations. And for such a significant day, like they could have given me any other day, but the fact that I was given International Women's Day was a big deal. But like it's such a humbling experience that I get to take this aesthetic that I feel is so iconic to Africa, bring it into something contemporary, and then put it on a platform where millions of people would get to see what's happening in African illustration.
Basketball, is that a big passion of yours?
It's more kind of growing up in the 90s with older brothers.
Yeah.
Like they listened to a lot of hip hop, they watched a lot of Martin and music videos. So hip hop culture, specifically 90s hip hop culture, you can't remove basketball from that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, my older brother was a basketball player, so it was always something around. I wasn't fully put in it because when they were growing up, I was like 5, so I can't really do anything. But being exposed to that was something that I can't remove. So I'll always reference hip hop, always reference basketball.
The reason for my basketball question was you did the 2 courts.
Yeah, myself and Lucky Lady Luke. Yeah, we collabed on doing the very first custom basketball courts in Africa.
Well, that's that's such a different canvas. When somebody approaches you and says, "Look, man, we want to put your art on a court." It's the perspective is different. First of all, and you look at the size and just everything about it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to have art on it. How do you deal with that?
I don't know. I think being an illustrator and like most recently I've moved over into the street art side of things. I'm always looking for unconventional canvases for my
Yeah.
art to live in. And I always look at making my art as accessible as possible. And what's more accessible than having your art live on a basketball court?
Amazing.
Especially here, tons of people that play basketball and netball are constantly using that
Yeah.
court. People are going to be talking about the art on that court. That's making your art accessible and getting conversation around art that looks familiar to an African market, but is still managing to make waves internationally as well.
Now, do you consider yourself a commercial artist, or do you still? I mean, you know how like graffiti artists, will do their thing at night, and which we will not talk about. Those are not, and then sell out, so to speak, which a lot of artists don't want to do. But I mean, that's just the way the world works. Because I've seen you just doodle on stuff and just go crazy with your creativity. Is that just for you, or do you consider those pieces as well that you want to go ahead and sell? Or
I think it's very strange for me if someone wants to say, "Oh, you're an artist," but then another person is a commercial artist.
Yes.
That seems weird. I think the correct term is just you're a creator, so you're creative, and if you associate with being an artist, you're an artist. I don't think we need subcategories from there. So I often create art because I studied. A lot of my work becomes commercial because people are seeing that there's a lot of influence around this. We should be partnering. We want to take creatives within South Africa from one place to another, and brands have the leverage to be able to do that. But it's never the official intent for everything that I create. Everything that I create because it's natural for me. I want to make things that look beautiful, but I also want to be the representation that I wanted to see when I was growing up.
But I want to go to like the business side of things. At what point did you get comfortable with how much you charge, how to have that talk, and how to sell yourself?
Yeah, I think for me it's a little bit of a unique case because as soon as I went into freelancing, there weren't a lot of freelancers at the time. So there wasn't someone that I could say, hey, could you teach me how to price this? This is the brief, this is what I do. What do you think I should price this at? So I basically had 2 weeks experience at an agency and that was it. And I had another friend that had exactly the same. So her and I, also talented illustrator, Amber Smith. Not a lot of people know this, but whenever we'd get a brief, we'd talk to each other about it, say, hey, this is the brief. How much do you think I should charge? So she'd give me an amount, I'd take an amount, and then we always go in the middle. So that was our reality for about a year. And then the second year, I got to talk to the creative director of Cerebra at the time, and he basically told me such a scary fact. He was saying that a lot of the time he has the privilege of seeing tons of quotes daily in the industry that he does, and he told me that black females charge close to 70% lower than any other creative.
What?
70% lower. And he says it's not because the talent or anything is much lower. He's like, sometimes it's far above much of the other quotes that they can get, and he's just flabbergasted at the fact that it would be that much lower. And he's just like, I know the kind of industry that you're in. I know that you could carry this voice. Whatever you think of charging, please double it, triple it, without having any shame, with confidence, double and triple that amount that you would have initially charged. So I started doing that, and companies started saying yes. Wow. So the formula was a little bit unconventional, but after hearing that statistic, I was just out to change that.
Scary. Now, I mean, you've already gone and done some major things. What would you love to work on? It's a difficult question.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult question.
I think just being creative, I do see myself as like an all-round creative. I think I would be able to kind of take something I'm not necessarily trained in, but just follow the simple thought process of creating and try and bring that into my aesthetic.
Yeah.
What I would love to do is get into fashion. I would love to get into sneaker design, actually.
Yeah, you're big on sneakers.
I love sneakers. I like the ingenuity, the science behind it, the art behind it, and that's having the analytical and creative side meet. So I would love to get into sneaker design. I would love to collaborate with Laulos and Banjo as well.
Yeah,
He does
yeah.
like really traditional, like linked to his heritage, that kind of art as well, but he's brought it into something contemporary. Virgil Abloh, of course, everyone on the planet would love to.
I feel like it's coming
collab
though.
with
I'm
him.
not even going to be surprised.
It's coming,
when it
it's
happens.
coming. He'll send me an email soon.
Yeah. I'm not even going to be surprised because you and Chantel Martin, you're already.
We're already here, yeah. So Bill Gates and I were here at a point as well.
Is this for
just
real?
on the side. Yeah, he tweeted me about 2 years ago. Tweeted
What?
a bunch of my illustrations and said he is, I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember the tweet exactly, but he is flown by the kind of creativity and innovation coming out of Africa. And there were a bunch of my illustrations.
That's.
Yeah. So, yeah, Virgil, we're waiting for you.